Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing good, physically and mentally fit and fine. So, friends, we are through with two dynamic lectures. We have covered almost, you can say, around two and a half of the chapter. We have seen beautiful 40 questions, very interesting questions, tricky questions, lot of interpretational things, lot of things to remember, how to remember them, what are the key points, and I have given you handwritten notes with all the marking, guys. Okay, so you can simply follow the instructions given in the description. You can download the important list. You can download the important list, and then you can download our handwritten notes also. So all the resources are provided. Now you should enjoy these lectures more and more. And as I have requested, I want only two things. I want you guys to spread these lectures everywhere. Your like, share, subscribe is very important, and your beautiful comments. These comments are very important for me. We love to read that. It energizes us. It says yes, do more and more and more and more. So guys, please keep doing that. Further, we have changed the timings. We have changed the timing, guys. So morning it's going to be English, and 11 o'clock it's going to be English. Okay, so we have changed the timings. Please keep that in mind. So if any Hindi student is watching this lecture, it's going to happen at 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock there'll be a 11 o'clock there'll be a English lecture, guys. And let's begin. Okay, just a minute. So we are studying this particular chapter, and we are already through with a lot of things. Okay, so let's come to this particular question. 159.000. Yes, guys. Yes, as I've explained, Hindi lecture is going to be at 11 o'clock. Yeah, we are going to have lectures daily, and maybe it will be off only on Sundays. Okay, let's see, guys. Come on. Now, this particular question actually is a very pretty old question. Pretty old question, and but then this particular question was introduced again in May 22 mock paper. So it automatically came in our important list. If something is coming in the recent MTP RTP, we will have to take it. And the question is pretty simple. They are talking about wastage of raw material. They are talking about wastage of raw material in percentages. Wastage, basically they are focusing on wastage, and wastage is given. Okay, wastage is given in percentage form. So they say that in the month of July it was 1.3%, then it increased to 1.6, 1.5, and October is the month. It suddenly it goes to 3.9%. And now what they expect from us is, they expect a kind of audit program. They expect a kind of audit program, or they simply, how will you check, how will you check why the waste has increased so much, why the increase so much, how to inquire about it. Okay, so if you see the answer is pretty long, guys, pretty long. They talk about, you have to see some general things first. And then they say that you have to, in addition, you have to see whether there are any specific reasons. So they are saying some general things and some specific reasons. Okay, so answer is about one and a half page. Moment students see this answer, now they are gone, oh my god, who is going to read so much? Okay, they will spend at least half an hour, 45 minutes crying, who will do that, ultimately they will lose interest. They will lose interest in the question, they will lose interest in the studies, and they say that no, now audit is not possible, this is not happening, this, that. Don't worry guys, I am here, don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. So we have done a lot of research, good research, to make your life super easy, super fantastic, which you are going to love, guys. Okay. So now, see what we have done. So general things which we have to check. Okay, general things which we have to check. We have divided into three categories. If you know my teaching, I always group things. So there are 3 points related to raw material, 3 points related to production, 3 points related to wastage. Okay, it's easy to understand, easy to understand and easy to retain. First, we have to understand raw material related things. Then we have to understand production related things, because wastage generally generates at production. Then we have to understand how wastage related few things. When it comes to specific things, again, we have to understand whether there is a specific reason, whether there is a specific reason of raw material, whether there is a specific reason of production, specific reason of finished goods also, maybe specific reason of any special reason. So whenever I don't find anything grouping, I put it in special. I put it in special at the end, guys. Okay. Let's see, guys. Now, what they're saying is very pretty simple. So as auditor, if you go and you realize that we are not talking about a statutory auditor. You are a chartered accountant, you're a professional, and maybe in a particular capacity you are invited. Maybe you are invited in a capacity of an internal auditor. You are invited in a capacity of expert, and they ask you, how are you going to check? How are you going to check these things? Just a minute, guys. Just a minute. How are you going to check? How are you going to check about the wastage? How are you going to check about the wastage? Wastage has increased. Wastage has increased so much. It's pretty simple, guys. The first thing is, as a analyst, first thing is 3 points into raw material. Obtain the list. Obtain the list of all the raw materials. Okay. Obtain the list. What are the different types of? So these are general inquiries. Okay. So these general points, in a sense, we need these whole system related points. First, obtain the list of all the different types of raw materials which are used in the factory. Obtain that list. Obtain the nature of those raw material. What is the volume of those raw material? What are the features of those raw material? Whether any particular raw material gets obsolete very fast, whether any particular type of raw material you need to maintain the temperature, any particular type of raw material you are supposed to control the moisture level, or etc. Most important thing is you obtain the list of raw material, understand their nature, understand how sensitive they are, understand that when they become obsolete, when they become useless, when it becomes scrap, when they become waste. So you need to understand in general about raw material first. Then you need to understand inventory management plan. You need to understand inventory management plan, whether they have proper reorder level, what are the stock level they're planning to maintain, whether they are proper transportation plan, whether there's a proper storage plan, whether there is proper consumption plan, whether there's proper disposal plan. So see, simply imagine, and you cannot rectify each and every sentence. That's not possible. So as an auditor, first we need to understand the list, take the list, understand the raw material, different types of raw material being consumed, understand how they will be managed, and then also understand lot-wise records. So in a period, in a year, what were the different how many lots of raw material were purchased, how many lots of raw material were purchased, and then how many of them were consumed, how they were consumed, and what was the wastage. Lot-wise wastage, we should know about that also. So get the list, understand the nature of the raw material, understand the plans, whether the plan is good, proper, because if there is a good plan, then definitely wastage should be less. Then understand the lot-wise performance, whether in each lot we are getting the same kind of wastage and so on. Then understand the standard consumption figures. Understand how much raw material is required. Understand how much raw material is required for production purpose. And out of that, suppose we put 100 kg of raw material in the production, how much goes to finished goods and how much goes into wastage. understand standard consumption figures, understand scientifically how much wastage generally happens, understand preventive maintenance program. See, on regular basis, maintenance should be done to avoid breakdowns, to avoid productivity of the machines to go down. Whether preventive maintenance program is there, whether it is whether it is implemented on regular basis, whether there is proper maintenance, we need to see those. So there are 3 points which we want to understand about raw material. Then we'll be able to understand whether waste is properly managed. We need to understand about the production. And finally, understand the wastage, the basis of calculation, and whether there is any change. How the raw material, how the wastage is being calculated, whether it is in kilograms, whether it is in liters, and how percentage is calculated, whether current how the percentage is calculated, what is taken in the numerator, what is taken in the denominator, whether there is any change the way it is computed. Are you doing actual figures, you are doing standard figures, or you are doing average figures? They understand the breakup also. Understand the breakup of wastage. How much raw material was wasted in transportation? How much was wastage in storage? How much was wastage in production? How much was, understand those things also. Understand the breakup. Whether there is change in quality control. Now, so what is that? Suppose the way we check quality has changed. The way we check quality has changed. Suppose our standards have increased, then lot of rejection will happen. And if rejection will happen, wastage will automatically increase. So understand whether the quality control system has changed, whether higher quality is required, because if the quality is higher, a lot of rejections will happen. Let's freeze, guys. It's pretty simple. So first, obtain all the information about the raw material, get the list, understand the plans, understand the lot-wise records, production, understand the consumption figures, understand preventive maintenance program. See, you give the headings, each, and in one line you write things. In one line, beautiful answer will come out. So talk about the raw material, there are 3 things. Talk about the production, there are 2 things. Then talk about the wastage, there are 3 things. Okay, basis of calculation, breakup, changes. Now, are there specific reason? Whether a particular batch was extremely poor quality raw material was purchased and delivered, and because of sting, whether the wastage has shoot up. These are specific reasons. Whether there was a breakdown in production, there was a complete breakdown in production, and because of that wastage has shoot up. Whether there was a particular power failure, and because of power failure, that particular batch of production was completely disposed, it became waste. Whether a new production line is set up, when a new production line is set up, lot of trial errors are done, lot of adjustments are done, and because of that, and those adjustments, guys, because of that, wastage will increase drastically. So whether they are production rate points, finished goods, whether now along with the wastage, some finished goods, whether finished goods or raw material also, whether finished goods or raw material are lying in the godown for long time, and because of that they have become obsolete. Then special points, whether reconciliation was done, and there was a difference, and that difference was called as wastage. Oh, that's why wastage figure has increased drastically this time, that a reconciliation was prepared between the actual and the system inventory, and the difference was called wastage. Okay. Whether there was any accident, there was any fire or flood, whether there was particular theft. So there can be specific reasons also. So first, understand overall system related things of raw material, system related things of production, system related things of wastage. You should visualize that handwritten notes in front of you. Then you go for the specific thing, specific raw material issue, or production related issue, or finished goods stock related issue, or special points are there. Guys, just put one heading and write 1-2 lines. A beautiful answer, guys. A beautiful answer will come out, because it was asked in May 22. Guys, I understand. See, I have marked it unique. In new study material, you will not find any reference. So in question bank, you are going to see some of the questions. You are not going to find any reference. And you may feel, oh, this is not a very technical one, this is very general one. Don't underestimate it. They may ask this in exams. Okay, so we have saved your half an hour, 45 minutes. We have saved your half an hour, 45 minutes of frustration. Okay, and we have covered beautifully. general points and specific points, and they are grouped properly. Come on. Next question, guys. Now, audit strategy for online business. So, a manufacturing company recently said, let's go online. Everyone wants to go online. Let's go online. I want to do business online. Yeah, and that's absolutely correct. Everyone should go online. It's a technological requirement nowadays. Okay, so they want to go online. So as an auditor, what kind of strategy? So guys, this is a study material question. What kind of strategy will you frame? Or they are saying, what factors will you consider? What factors you would consider? What things you will consider when you frame the strategy? What factors will consider? What factors will consider? For what things you will frame the strategy? For what things you will frame the strategy? We have already studied. This, or we have already seen in the previous question, the last lecture. We have seen this, guys. Rose point, and this is a very common question. So first you have to say that as per APSE 300, whenever we make audit strategy, we have to think careful about few points. R stand for we need to make a strategy for resources. Then O stand for objectives. So reporting, objectives, and communication related strategy should be there. What kind of overall objective, what kind of report, frequency, format, what kind of communication. Then we need to decide carefully scope, what we are going to check and how we are going to check. Taking into consideration characteristics, taking into consideration characteristics of the assignment, okay, nature of the assignment. We need to decide the scope, and then efforts. We need to decide the factors which have significant effect on the efforts of the engagement team, and we need to also take into consideration, evaluate PEA, preliminary engagement activities. What was the result of PEA? Before planning, we do PEA, preliminary engagement activity. What was the result? So when you make overall audit strategy, you need to consider these 5 points. We have already discussed this in the previous class. So you need to repeat that again. Now, further, when we talk about new online shopping venture, what additional things you will think about? Now, guys, the fun part is they are saying, okay, so they in the module they said, okay, as we generally see as per APSE 300, when we make strategy, we need to consider 5 points. So consider those 5 points here also. Now, because it's an online shopping venture, you need to consider few more extra points. And to your surprise, guys, I am saving you a lot. I am protecting you a lot. to your big surprise, not a single word they have written about the online shopping or online commerce or e-commerce. Nothing. So if any student goes and write everything about e-commerce, this, that, he will not get marks. Okay. So they are saying that fine. Whenever you start a new business, and you have to you need to strategize how to audit that business, there are some general points we need to take into consideration. Basically, you'll have to frame strategy. You will have to frame strategy of the new business. You'll have to frame strategy for the new business. Okay. New business, keeping in mind 3 things. What kind of transactions are happening? What kind of transactions are happening? What kinds of events and conditions are happening? What kind of journal entries are there? Simple, guys, just remember 3 things. So we need to plan for the new business, like online business, keeping in mind further 3 things. What kind of transactions are happening, transaction related points, events and condition related points, and joint venture related points. Okay, let's understand, guys. See, this grouping helps a lot. This grouping helps a lot. This grouping is a blessing. This grouping, guys, is a blessing. Okay, let's understand this. So they're saying that first understand significant class of transactions. First, go and understand what are significant class of transactions. Like in online business, you go and understand which product is getting sold a lot, and what kind of transactions are happening, whether COD, cash on delivery, is very high, or debit card or credit card or UPI transactions very high. Understand significant class of transaction, what kind of sales are there. Then whether any particular expense, server expense or software development expense or maintenance expense, what kind of expenses. So whenever there's a new business, first understand significant. When we are making strategy, we need to clearly understand what are the significant class of transactions. When whether it is on the revenue side, whether it is on the revenue side, whether it is on the expense side, go and understand those. Then clearly understand what are the internal control systems, what is the business process, what is the business process, what is the internal control system for the transaction, how those transactions are initiated, how they are initiated, how they are approved, how they are recorded, how they are processed, how they are corrected, how they are concluded, settled. Understand the business process also. Understand the business process, understand the internal control system. Then understand the accounting process also. When is the time the accounting related documents are made, on the basis of what document, on the basis of what document, okay, on the basis of sales invoice, okay, on the basis of which particular document accounting process starts, who passes primary entry, how posting happens in the ledger, how trial balance is created, and so on. So understand the accounting process also. Understand the accounting process also. Okay. Then understand which are the major accounts, which are the major accounts, which are the major revenue accounts, expense account, and what are the important documents related to them. So 3 points are transaction related. First, understand significant class of transaction, then understand the business processes related to those transactions, accounting processes related to that transaction, then understand the specific accounts involved and records involved. So there are 3 transaction related points. There are 3 transaction. This is the best way to remember, guys. This is the best way to remember these things. So transaction related point should be there. Then you are supposed to go for events and conditions. Events and conditions, guys. Okay. Because when accounting happens, we account for transactions. Along with that, we also account for events and conditions. So we need to understand how these guys capture events and conditions, how they go for depreciation, how they go for amortization of intangible asset, how they go for impairment testing of the goodwill, okay, how they go for writing of a lot of things, how they make provision for doubtful debts, and so on. So how they capture events and conditions, and how they make calculations, how they go for accounting, and so on. Understand events and condition editing. Then go and understand journal entry. So journal entry, JV, journal voucher. That go and understand who can pass JVs. There is journal entries. Entries which are passed apart from the regular entries, apart from the regular income expense and routine entries. Special entries which are passed, which are generally of non-recurring nature, like closing stock entry, provision entry, write-off entry, valuation entries. They are called journal entries. So who are authorized to pass journal entries? Who can pass journal entries, what particular approval will be required, what kind of documents will be maintained, who is going to supervise and review these things. So go and understand journal entry related controls also. So guys, it's very simple. So they're saying that when you go to new business, you understand transaction related 3 points, then events and conditions, and JV. So they are nowhere talking about the online business. Nowhere they're talking about the online business. You're going to go and write about the online business, and you are going to suffer because of that. Okay, so don't do that, guys. So it's a very generic thing which they're asking us. Okay, whatever. Now these questions, this audit program and these questions, they are important, guys. I understand they're not exactly as per standards on auditing, but they're important. Come on. So we are through with one more part. Come on, guys. Now very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Now this is there in study material. This is there in study material. This question is there 2 times. This question is in study material 2 times, guys. 2 times they have given the same question. It's a lovely question. So what the question is all about? The question is all about, there's a audit, there's a assignment, and in that assignment there is a principal auditor. There's a principal auditor. Principal auditor is doing audit of HO. Is going to audit of HO and some of the branches, and around 14 branches audit is done by someone else. Around 14 branches, guys. Around 14 branches, audit is done by someone else. Someone else is doing the audit. Someone else is doing the audit, others. So basically we are having a HO audit. Basically we are having a HO auditor and we are having branch auditors. Okay. So in this situation, SS 600 is applicable. Now, what is happening? What is happening? That principal auditor says, "Hey, listen, branch auditor. Hey, listen, branch auditor. Please send me summary. Please send me a summary that what kind of audit procedures you performed, what kind of results you got. Send that summary. Send summary of the findings also. Send summary of the audit procedures. Send summary of the findings. And I'll say, share your working papers also." So guys, very interesting. Very interesting. SS 600. I hope you are aware about difference of SS 600 and SS 299 joint audit. In joint audit, auditors are of the same level. In joint audit, auditors are of same level. They are colleagues. They together are signing the main report. 299 is applicable. But when it comes to principal auditor and branch auditors, level of the principal auditor is higher. Only he is signing the main report. Others are sending their reports to principal auditors. So that there's change in difference in level, SS 600 will get applicable. So question is pretty simple. Principal auditor is demanding a lot of things. Okay. Principal auditor is demanding a lot of things from the branch auditors. He is demanding summary of what you have done, what you have found, and he is demanding working papers also. So in this particular case, as per 600, is it appropriate? Whether it is it appropriate as per SS 600? Okay. So we have made, guys, beautiful. See, this again question goes a lot. Around 1 page question is there. We have made a beautiful summary, guys. Lovely summary. Beautiful summary, lovely summary. It is based on the titanium book. If you have titanium book, that's great. If you don't have, you will find this concept in your concept book also. Okay. Let's understand this, guys. Beautiful summary of this particular point. Okay. And you will understand the whole SS 600. You will understand the whole SS 600 looking at this particular thing. So what's the case? Case is pretty simple. Case is pretty simple. SS 600 gives us the most important principle, the basic principle. Principal auditor can rely on the work done by the branch auditors, by other auditors. Okay, we can fully rely on their work. We are not supposed to. It is not mandatory. It is not necessary. It is not mandatory that you go and check everything what branch auditor has done. We can rely. So SS 600 says that it's absolutely fine. You can rely on the work which is done by the branch auditors. You can rely on their audit reports. You can rely on their audit work, and on the basis of the audit report, you can make your main report. You can fully rely. Okay, but then just like in law, we have exceptions. Just like in law, we have exceptions. Okay. On the same lines, the exceptions are always there. Okay, exceptions are always there. I will study with wholeheartedness, except when she calls. Okay, so exceptions are always there. So exception is here also. They're saying, okay, you can fully rely on the work, but we can evaluate adequacy. We can do some audit procedures. We can do some audit procedures. We can do some evaluation just to check whether the overall work of the branch auditor is adequate, whether he has obtained sufficient appropriate audit evidence. So first they say, yeah, you can fully rely, but then they say that definitely we can evaluate whether work is sufficient, adequate, sufficient appropriate audit evidence has obtained. So first they say you can fully rely on them, but then they say, okay, you can perform some audit procedures also. And then they explain us what kind of audit procedure. So they explain that, okay, in all the audits, you can have some basic audit procedures. They're very simple basic audit procedures. Simply set up a coordination with them. Simply set up a coordination with them. So at the start of the audit, go and meet all the branch auditors uh, explain them, this is the person who is in charge from our side, these are his contact details, who will people from your side, what are the contact details. So initial coordination can be set up. How many times in a year we are going to meet, that we can discuss, and we can explain what role you play in this assignment. This branch contributes maximum to the purchases, this branch contributes to the production, this branch contributes to sales, this particular branch contributes to R&D, and so on and so on. So there can be coordination, initial coordination meetings, and we can explain their importance, their role in the whole assignment, in the financial statements. Then we can communicate all the significant requirements. So we can communicate to them, listen, in accounting these are the AS Indias which are applicable. In auditing, these standards should be implemented more. They have a lot of estimates, so implement SA 540 properly. Reporting, they are going to need normal audit report, they are going to need caro report, they are going to need tax audit report. So we should communicate. First is coordinate, then communicate on regular basis all the important accounting, auditing and reporting requirements. Special audit consideration, in which particular area special attention should be given. Like inventory valuation is a very complicated thing, you spend more time into it. And then give them the timetable also. Give them timetable, by this time you all are supposed to complete your work, so that I can refer your reports and complete my work. So these are the basic audit procedures. See, these are the basic audit procedures which you can perform. You may go for now additional audit procedures also. You may go for additional procedure. You can simply call or have a communication, discuss. Hey auditor, I just want to understand how many of you have started the audit, when did you start audit, how many hours you plan to, how many hours you plan to spend on this audit, what kind of audit procedures you are following. So we can discuss, if required we can ask for written summary. Yes, absolutely fine. This is additional procedures as required. It is not mandatory, as required. Okay, just give us a written summary. What is your team constitution, how much time you're spending, what you have done, what are the results you are getting. Please share a summary with us. In fact, we can send you a questionnaire or checklist. We will send you a questionnaire checklist. Simply read that, understand that, fill up that and give it to us. If required, we can go for visit also. See, it's in a sequence. I love sequences. I love flow. Okay, so first is the normal discussions. About that, there should be written summary. About that, they should be talking about the visit. Okay, so the level is increasing gradually. Okay, about the efforts are increasing gradually. These are options with us. Now, everything will depend on two things: specific circumstances. Suppose there's a lot of ratios and figures have changed drastically. Now that indicates something is wrong. That indicates risk. So in the specific circumstances, we may apply increased audit procedures. Then also depends on professional competence of the person. If he is not a member of ICA, that's very interesting. They say, standard says that if the person is member of ICA, we should show full trust on his competence. But if the person is other than member of ICA, we should go and see the competence. It can happen in foreign branches. That person is not a member of CA institute. So we should go and see the competence. What is the knowledge and skills level? He is member of which particular which particular regulatory authority, which particular accounting body, and so on. And last thing, significant findings. So the other auditor is supposed to regular basis inform and discuss all the significant findings, which has all the issues, all the significant matters which he has seen in the branch. And then principal auditor can can ask for supplementary procedures to be performed. Supplementary means additional procedures, whatever he thinks appropriate on those matters. Either he will perform or he will ask other auditor to perform it. Okay. So guys, they're very simple 5 points. First, we explain the basic principle that we can show full trust. We can rely on the work done by the report. No need to go and evaluate and check everything. But then they say, depending on the situations, we may evaluate adequacy of the work. Okay, so what it will have: basic audit procedures, coordination and communication. Coordination and communication should be there. Apart from that, additional procedures can be there. The easiest one being discussing. Then after discussing, the next one is written summary, or the next one is visit. and significant findings should be discussed. Supplementary additional process should be informed. So in this case, it is absolutely fine. If principal auditor is communicating coordination and communication thing, absolutely fine. He is discussing, absolutely fine. He wants the summary, absolutely fine. He wants to visit, absolutely fine. And a supplementary process for significant, absolutely fine. This is the right of the principal auditor as per AS 600. No one can deny it. No one can deny it. Absolutely fine. Okay. Now, there is a question, Sandeep. I will let you know. That will come later on. Then very interesting, guys. Then very, very interesting. Very interesting. Now, next you are supposed to explain essay 230. That auditor is owner of all the audit documentation which he has prepared for a particular audit. He is the owner. Principal auditor is the owner of his documents. Branch auditor is owner of his documents. It's completely their discretion whether to share it with client or anyone else. They have to always keep in mind the confidentiality. It is their discretion. It is their decision. They want to share it with client or not. And they need to always keep in mind confidentiality. So as per that, branch auditor is owner of the branch documents, and it's absolutely up to him whether to share it or not. So if principal auditor is asking for documents, it is not mandatory to share documents. It is not at all mandatory to share documents. It will be absolutely fine if branch auditor says, no, I will not share. I am already giving my report to you. I am discussing audit procedures with you. I am giving a summary with you. You can come and visit also. I am doing supplementary procedure also. It is not mandatory on me to share my working papers with you. I am the owner. So it's a beautiful question, guys, because some of the things which principal auditor is asking is valid. If he is asking for discussion, valid. He is asking for summary, valid. He is asking for visit, valid. He is asking for supplementary audit procedures, valid. But he is asking for working papers, not valid. Not valid. It's not up to him. It's not up to him whether to get those working papers or not. It's up to branch auditor whether he wants to share it or not. Beautiful question, guys. Lovely questions, because some of the things are as per SS 600. Some of the things are not as per SS 600, guys. Not as per SS 600. That makes this lovely thing. That makes this answer lovely. And these 5 points are the heart of SS 600, heart of the SS 600. This is the approach of the SS 600, guys. Okay. So, guys, we are through with one more question. See, try to understand the crux of the question. Try to understand the crux of the question, crux of the answer in these sessions. It will create a super foundation for you to thrive. Super foundation. And the next time you see the video, you polish everything. You polish everything, guys. Come on. Now let's talk about coordination. There should be sufficient liaison. They use this word specifically. Sufficient liaison between the principal auditor and the other auditors. There should be sufficient liaison. Liaisoning means there should be good rapport, there should be good relationship, there should be good communication exchange. They should be very comfortable with each other. Comment. Or they may say that, now they are asking, very, very important interpretation. Explain the role of the principal auditor and explain the role of principal auditor and other auditor. Now the principal auditor and other auditor can be HO auditor and a branch auditor, or it can be, in the case of consolidated financial statement, it can be the holding company auditor and subsidiary auditor. Holding company auditor and subsidiary auditor also. So now, guys, very interesting. So in this particular case, they're talking about liaisoning, they're talking about role. What is the role? Okay. So this is where interpretation is very important. It has been asked in May 23 mock. This question is dying to come in exam. It's dying to come in exam. May 23 mock, November 23 mock, practice mail 17, RTP. So last it was asked was November 16 exam. Now, dying to come. Let's see, guys. I am going to see, guys, we don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of time, and then only these lectures will be effective. These lectures will be effective. So uh, at some places I have handwritten things with me. At some places I've already done all the hard work and research, and I've already put in the titanium book, my concept book. If you have that, you can use that. If you don't have, you can simply look at the screen. You may be having your book, map it, or maybe write important things, whatever is comfortable for you, or if you're not having the latest concept, you can go for that also. So we have to go to concept 600.080, the titanium book concept number. So the question is, what kind of liaising should be there? What kind of liaising should be there? Okay. So you are supposed to explain these points. Now, guys, you should see the flow I am creating. You should see the flow I am creating, the way I am taking this. Okay, that's extremely important. So let's understand the flow I am creating. Now here, guys, uh, I have divided it in three parts. It is principal to principal auditor to branch auditor, and branch auditor to principal auditor. That's the point number one. What they need to do with each other. Then what principal auditor need to do with the branch auditor. Okay. So what they need to do with each other, then what principal auditor need to do with branch auditor, and what branch auditor has to do with the principal auditor. So moment you divide it into three things, things become lovely. Oh, it's so easy to understand. Between the other, principal to branch, branch to principal. Oh, it's so easy to understand, guys. And to remember. So remember in this manner. Now, first thing is there should be sufficient liaising. That means there should be sufficient communication, sufficient communication, frequent communication. There should not be any hesitation between the branch auditor and principal auditor to share information with each other. There should be free flow of information with both of them. Okay, there should be good relationship, there should be good rapport, there should be good information exchange, good relationship between principal auditor and branch auditor. So of course there should be sufficient liaising. You talk about that point. Then there are certain things with principal auditor is supposed to do with the branch auditor. First, understanding the context. So principal auditor should regularly communicate, especially at the initial stage of the audit, and explain the role of the branch auditor. How they're important, how they're contributing, where their work will be used. Explain them that you are going to audit this branch, this particular data will be very important for you, that data will be very useful for me for computing cost of inventory, or for depreciation, or for amortization, or for write-off, for whatever. Explain them the whole picture, what role they play, how their work will be important, how it will be used, in which context their work will be used. So principal auditor is supposed to explain branch auditors, that means other auditors, what is the whole scenario, what role they are playing, how their work is important, how it will be used, the context in which it is going to use. Explain them that, listen, this is how we are going to use your work. Then advisory. Advisory. We have seen this. Advisory, you're supposed to give advisory. Like we have discussed, advise them, communicate them. What are the significant requirements for which particular accounting standards are applicable, which standards on auditing are applicable. Talk about the accounting, talk about standards on auditing, then talk about the reporting requirement, give them the advisory. Then send them the questionnaire, okay, on regular basis, that see, this is the questionnaire checklist, please fill it up in detail and give it to me. So they can explain the context in which work will be used, then they can give advisory, then they can give questionnaire. This is very similar summary to what basic and additional audit procedure we discussed. This is a very good summary of what we have discussed just now. And then branch auditor is supposed to explain on regular basis all the significant findings, all the significant significant findings, and he's supposed to adhere to the timetable also, follow timetable. So that is the role of the branch auditor. So you are supposed to say, yeah, both of them have very important role to play, and there should be good coordination between them, and we can divide it. These things should happen between principal auditor and branch auditor. This should be communicated from principal to branch. This should be done from branch to principal. You remember these things. Between both of them, 1 point from principal to branch, 3 point understanding the context, advisory, questionnaire, which is on the same lines what we have studied, the basic audit procedures and additional audit procedures on the same lines, and then from branch to principal. Okay, if you study in this manner, if you study in so and so way, you will definitely love it. You will definitely love it. You will definitely enjoy it. Okay. So guys, don't worry. Sometimes in between there is a lag. Don't worry guys. Sometimes in between it may happen that there is a small lag. I don't know, this issue is happening across India. Across India this issue is happening, but then don't worry about it, guys. Okay, don't worry. Now, so we have done that beautifully in titanium book, and from there, guys, we have less time. We have to cover lots and lots of things, guys. Lots and lots of things. Access to working papers of branch auditor. Access to working papers of branch auditor. Now, we have already discussed this. We have already discussed this in same as 100.600. Same as 100.600 already discussed. What are the normal, what is as per SS, what SS 600, what kind of things SS 600 says, what kind of thing SS 230 says. So great, we do one thing, we cover multiple things. We do one thing, we cover multiple things. Oh, now lovely. Now this was your question, Sandeep. This was your question. Now exactly for that question we have for your query we have a question. Okay, now a very simple thing that so there is a statutory central auditor. There is a statutory auditor of a bank. He is a principal auditor, and a lot of branches are audited by the other auditors, by branch auditors. Okay, so around 1,000 branches are audited by the others. 1,000 branches are audited by the others. There must be 10,000 branches. Out of the 1,000 branches, someone else is doing it. Okay, fine. And now one large branch audited by branch auditor, there was an error in NPA classification. But then branch auditor didn't, there was a big error. Branch auditor didn't report it. It was not reported in audit report. It was not reported any issue. Branch auditor didn't say anything about it. Okay. Apart from that, statutory auditor called for soft copy of internal inspection report, concurrent reports of all the branches. Nothing was there in the internal inspection report. Nothing was there in the concurrent report. So principal auditor did all his work, that he asked for the reports, branch reports, concurrent audit reports, internal inspection reports. Nowhere they spoke about this thing. And suddenly one day, there's a big NPA issue, big NPA problem. Who will be responsible? Where the principal auditor will be responsible. Principal auditor is the person who is signing the main report. And then we have a branch auditor. He's signing the other report. Who will be responsible? Who will be responsible in this case? That's a lovely question, beautiful question. Now come on, guys. I will tell you who will be responsible. So we have to go to concept number SS 600.120, SA 600.120. Now this concept is covered at the end. Generally it is at the, if you see the sequence, it is covered at the end. Okay, so you need to explain very simple thing. Division of responsibility. SA 600 says that, listen what SA 600 says. SA 600 says that principal auditor is not responsible if there is a subsequent discovery of material misstatement, whether because of fraud or error in any of the branches. Principal auditor is not responsible. Concerned branch auditor will be responsible. Concerned branch auditor will be responsible, and that is purely justified. That's logical because of two reasons. Management has appointed principal auditor. Management has appointed branch auditor. It was their decision, and the person is generally a chartered accountant. Management has appointed that. Management has taken that call. Okay, why we should be responsible for it? Management has taken that call, and the person is a chartered accountant, so he should take his own responsibility. So principal auditor is not responsible for subsequent discovery of material misstatement because of fraud or error. Respective branch auditor, respective other auditor will be responsible for all the issues which are arising there, unless there was a suspicion. If there was a suspicion, that's very interesting, guys. Unless there is a suspicion, if there was a suspicion, if there was something which was creating doubt in that particular branch, in that particular item, and still principal auditor ignored that suspicion, then even he will be held responsible. He will be responsible. He will be answerable. He will be punished. In this case, they have clearly explained. There was no hint. There was no hint in soft copies of the internal inspection report or concurrent audit report. There was no hint in the main report. There was no hint at all. There was no hint at all, guys. No hint at all of any kind. No hint at all of any kind in this case. Nothing. So if that is the case, no hint at all. Okay. Then, no hint at all. Then in that case, in this case, so answer is pretty clear. The concerned branch auditor will be responsible in our case. So first, and then one more thing. You need to explain this division of responsibility in your audit report. You need to tell, you need to put a OMP. You need to put a OMP, other matter paragraph, and tell that so many branches are not audited by us, they are audited by someone else. They are audited by someone else. You need to explain that. You need to quantify it. You need to quantify it, that these is the total revenue, these are the total profit, revenue, profits, assets of those particular branches. Quantify it or give it in percentage, that they contribute 5%, they contribute 5% of the revenue, 5% of the revenue, say 6% of the profits, so much percent of assets. Either you quantify it in the base on the amount, or you quantify it on percentage basis. Okay, so you need to put OMP and explain the division of responsibility. So in as per SA 600, there should be division of responsibility. There is a division of responsibility if the principal auditor had no suspicion at all on the branch, and next they're supposed to explain this division of responsibility in their audit report by putting other matter paragraph. Okay, and as I said, it is logical, guys. It is pretty logical. So guys, we are through with one more thing. Come on, very interesting. One more thing. Okay, now this question has been asked in November 23 mock, not study material 23, November 23 mock. November 23 mock, after a long time it has been asked again, and it has 2 points. It has 2 interesting points. So see, SA 600 is applicable between principal auditor and the other auditor. So it can be HO versus HO and branch. It can be holding and subsidiaries. Okay, so same concepts are applicable in both the cases, in both the scenarios. Now the question is, what is the question? The question is, principal auditor, a company is offering a post of principal auditor to a CFM. Post of principal auditor to a CFM. What things he should look into? He is considering what things he should consider. Consider means think. Think carefully. What things is supposed to consider? What things? What things? What things is supposed to consider? What things is supposed to what things is supposed to consider, guys? That is extremely important. What thing is supposed to consider before accepting such appointment? Okay. And the next, there are two things involved, and the next thing is about the materiality. There is a question, there is a quandary, there is a question, there is a confusion regarding determination of materiality of the consolidated financial statements. So they say that, okay, you discuss two things: where to accept the assignment, and if yes, so half of the answer is as per concept of SA 600. Half of it is as per SA 600, and then half of it is as per group materiality, that is consolidation. There's a consolidation chapter, so half of that is coming from there, and that's why it becomes very interesting. Okay, let's understand it, guys. We have made beautiful flow, beautiful notes. Let's go to that. If you are having your own concept book, you refer that also. So 600.40, 600.40. Okay. So you already marked very important A category question. So if any offer, if people come to you with offer of principal auditor, one thing I will think about myself, what I am doing. So one is what I am doing, and other is what branch auditors are doing. 3 points, what branch auditors are doing. Very simple. So first thing is what I am doing, principal auditor. You should always see what is the materiality of the portion audited by the principal auditor. Am I covering the major portion? Am I covering the big portion? If I am the principal auditor, I should cover at least 50%. I should cover at least 50%, 60% of the portion. I should do the major part, or I should do the biggest part. I should do the biggest part as compared to small branch auditors. You should always see the materiality of the work which is done by the principal auditor. Is it a major portion of financial statement? Are you covering the biggest portion, and all other branch auditors are doing compared to smaller portion? That is, then only you can say that you are a principal auditor. Then only you can say that you are a principal auditor. Then only you can think about signing the audit report of the whole company. You should be doing the material portion. You should be doing the major portion. So look into that first. So first point is what you are doing. Now 3 points is what they are doing. That's why I've numbered it accordingly. One thing is what principal auditor should do. Two things is what others should do. The other auditor should do. Okay. Now let's see, guys. Degree of knowledge of the compounds business. So first we need to understand, now whatever work is proposed to be done by the branch auditors, by the subsidiary auditors, am I having good knowledge about those businesses? If I am having good knowledge of those businesses, then I can understand lots of things just sitting in my cabin, whether everything is going proper or not. So it is always good if I have good knowledge of those components. Oh, I know how trading happens in textile industry. I know how R&D happens in pharma company. Oh yeah. I know how cement is manufactured. You should have good knowledge of the businesses which are done in the branches or subsidiaries audited by other auditor. Then you should focus on what is the risk of material misstatement. It is what is the risk of material misstatement in those branches, in those subsidiaries? It should not be very high. They are supposed to do low risk work and medium risk work. We are supposed to do high risk work. The risk of material misstatement in those branches should not be high. I am the principal auditor. I am supposed to cover the most risky things. Okay. Then, are those guys ready for the additional procedures? If in the course of audit, we have just discussed, course of audit, if I want, are they ready to listen to my advisory? Will they be ready for discussion or summary of the audit procedures? Will they be ready for that? Will they be ready for additional procedures if any, I am supposed to perform as per SS 600? If the answer are positive overall, we say yes. If the maturity of the portion is very high, we are doing the major part, then I have not, then the business they are auditing, I have good knowledge about that. The risk of material misstatement is not very high. They are ready for the additional procedures. If these three things are satisfied, guys, then we say that okay, done. So in all, we have to see four things. 1 point is related to principal auditor, 3 point related to the branch auditor. Okay, come on, guys. Now next is about materiality. What about materiality in case of consolidated financial statement? We are going to study this in group financial statement, but then let's see. Yes. So first thing you are supposed to explain. Yes, we are supposed to compute group. So whenever consolidation happens, such kind of clubbing happens, we are supposed to make a separate materiality level for group for consolidated financial statement. Yes, a separate materiality level should be computed. Separate materiality level should be computed for the group. For the group, there should be a group level materiality. There should be group level materiality, guys. A separate limit will be calculated and it will be used at 3 places. So whenever we are checking consolidation adjustments, whenever we are checking consolidation adjustment, intercompany transaction, intercompany balances, stock reserves, goodwill write-offs, all the consolidation related adjustments. For those adjustments, we will use group level materiality. We'll use group level materiality for evaluating, examining, checking consolidation adjustment. Okay. Then for scope in, scope out, if there are a lot of subsidiaries, and we have to decide carefully on which we want to focus, on which we don't want to focus. Okay. If we want to focus on them, we don't want to focus on them. So to decide this, again, group level materiality will be used. To decide this, again, group level materiality will be used for scope in, scope out. That okay, these are the subsidiaries which are below materiality level. We will scope them out. We are not going to give them a lot of focus. We are going to do very limited audit procedures for them. And these are the subsidiaries which are within the proper scope. We are going to spend a lot of time on them. We will be doing a lot of audit procedures on them. So this will be used for scope in, scope out, that which component should be focused on and which component we should not focus. Then whenever other auditors, subsidiary auditors, put EMP, OMP or modification in their audit report, we will include them only if they are material as per group level materiality. So if these guys put EMP, OMP and modification, we'll study it, analyze it, we'll compare it with the group level materiality, and then only we are going to include it. Let's freeze, guys. 2 questions were involved. First question, whether we should accept the assignment. 1 point is related to us and 3 points is related to what they are doing. What business they are doing. What is the risk involved? Are they ready for additional procedures? Okay. And then we have this group level materiality will be computed. It will be a separate. It will be used for 3 things. It will be used for 3 things, guys. Okay, EMP, OMP, 3 things: consolidation adjustment, scope in, scope out. Now this is what is supposed to remember. If you remember this and explain in 2-3 lines, you are going to kill it, guys. You're not supposed to learn every sentence. That's not required. Come on, guys. We are through with one more essay. One more. Okay, guys. So we are covering the important list. We are trying to cover maximum questions, guys. We have covered lovely questions with the lovely flow, lovely points, lovely concepts. Easy to remember, easy to understand, easy to remember. I hope you are enjoying it. So that's why I keep saying, guys, do share these lectures with everyone. Let our hard work, a lot of hard work which we put, it's just not 2 hours. The background, the question bank, a lot of things are done. Keep sharing it and keep putting your lovely comments. Once the lecture ends, don't forget to put your feedback, your comments. They are really very important for us. Okay. Now, next is, guys, SA610, question about SA610, that we know that using the work of internal auditor. So you're aware, using the work of internal auditor, we can take help we can take help of the work of internal audit in two ways. First is using the work of internal auditor. What is that? If they have performed or planning to perform some work as per management instruction, suppose they are planning to check three things: salary, planning to check salary, they're planning to check R&D expense, salary expenses, R&D expenses, and next they are planning to check brand valuation. These three things. If some work is already done or will be performed as per management instructions, work is done, files are prepared. If you're planning to take help of that work, that's called using work of the internal, using the work of internal auditor. Okay, using the work of internal auditor. Then next is, if you plan to appoint him, if you plan to appoint internal auditor and give him direction, supervise his work, review his work, you have to appoint him for next 15-20 days that you will work as per my instruction, you will do the work which I say. That's called using internal auditor. Using internal auditor, that's called taking direct assistance. Taking direct assistance. So there are two ways in which we can take help of the internal auditors, and three steps are involved. In both, three steps are involved. Number one, we need to clearly think about it, evaluate whether to use the work or whether to take direct assistance from so and so internal auditors. Are they reliable? Are they reliable? You're supposed to think about that. Then in which area I should use the work or I should take his direct assistance, in which areas, and finally how to use the work or how to take direct assistance. Okay guys, so the first question, look at this, how many times it has been asked. It was a rage. May 5 exams, November 8 exams, November 9 exam, it was a rage. It used to come so consistently, and then there was a drought. 12 RTP, 12 mock paper, 13 RTP, 13 mock, 14 RTP. Finally it came in 15 exams. It's long due, it has not yet come. It's very simple, straightforward. How will you evaluate the internal audit function? How will you evaluate? Yes, Akash, Hindi is from 11 a.m. Hindi is from 11 a.m. 11 a.m. guys. Now, so next is evaluation of the internal audit function. Evaluation of the internal audit function. So whether we can rely on this internal audit function means internal audit team. Can we rely on the internal audit team? How to decide, can we rely on the internal audit team for using their work? Okay, or they can ask in this manner also. Now this is what you're supposed to do. Whether system of internal audit is commensurate with the size of the company and nature of the business. Commensurate means suitable. Is it suitable with the size of the company and nature of the business? Okay, so this is the another way of asking it. That's very critical. Very critical. You should know. If they are saying, how will you evaluate whether the internal audit system is commensurate, suitable as per size and complexity? So we are supposed to focus on three things. Okay, it must be there in your concept book also. 610.080 is the concept number. So that's why we put concept number. It's a very innovative thing. It's a very innovative thing. Concept number 610.080. 610.080 is there, guys. Okay, so step number one, three factors, and I have used the mnemonic also there. COD, cash on delivery. Okay, C stand for competence. We are supposed to see level of competence of the internal audit team. So when we talk about competence means, are they having proper knowledge and skills? To perform internal audit of such a big company and such a complex business? So for how we'll understand, are they having proper qualifications? After qualification, are they having proper training? Are they having proper qualifications, proper trainings, proper experience, good market reputation? So that will tell us, are these guys competent or not? So first you are supposed to check competence, that is knowledge and skills levels, and then I explain how you can do that, the level of competence. Then O stand for O stand for objectivity of the internal auditors. Objectivity, guys, objectivity of the internal auditors. Objectivity means being unbiased. Objectivity means unbiased. That means keeping personal liking and disliking aside. Then not working under pressure, not working under pressure of anyone and compromising with the quality. And third, avoiding conflict of interest. Don't compromise your professional objectives against your personal benefits. So objective means being unbiased, not working under pressure, not working for personal benefits and conflict of interests. Okay, so that's objective. How we understand that? The most important, what is the status? If status of the internal audit is very high, they're reporting direct to the directors, then they are very powerful. When they are very powerful, they are less restriction. They are very powerful. They are less restrictions. They can work freely. They can work with objectivity. And then policies and procedures. How policies and procedures of the internal auditor, are they given enough freedom? Are they having proper status? Then are they given enough freedom? Are they given enough power? Are they given enough resources? Even enough permissions to do their work? Okay. So these two things will be able to understand, can they work with objectivity? And next is systematic and disciplined approach. Are they having proper training for internal audit concepts, proper training for the internal audit issues, how to handle them, proper training for the reporting? Are they having proper manuals about these things, proper training about these things, and are they doing everything as per that? Are they having system and discipline approach? So guys, COD. C, we have to see level of competence of the team. O, we have to see objectivity of the internal audit. D, we have to see discipline approach. Come on, guys. Next. So that was lovely, guys. And the way of asking the second question was extremely important. Now, very interesting, which work of the internal auditor can be used? So they have made a lovely background, case study. What is the business of the company? They're into niche products for newborn babies, premium, ultra premium products for the. There is also well functioning. There's an internal auditor. There's an internal department. Okay. So there's a company with niche products. Internal auditor has regularly attended physical. Internal auditor has regularly attended physical verification. Internal auditor has worked on valuation of the inventory also. And now there's an issue with the inventory. Inventories are held for considerably long before they're sold. So lot of inventory is slow moving. They're held for long time before they are sold. There's a issue of slow inventory. The inventory may become obsolete. They may become obsolete. Okay. They may become outdated, not usable in the markets. They may get soiled also. Okay. Now this is a situation. So we have an internal auditor who is working in the area of inventory. Inventory is having the issue, and the question is, can we rely upon the work which is done by internal auditor for inventory? So can we? The question is very interesting. It's in the new study material. Can we use his work? For inventory valuation? Okay. So first they explain the concept of SS610. First they explain the concept of 610, and then they go for case discussion, guys. Okay, let's come. It's very simple. It is coming from step number 2, 610.100, step number 2, and this is the portion. So we cannot go and use any work of the internal auditor, just like any work of the internal auditor. So we can divide in three parts: prohibition, prevention, and factors of step 1. Okay, let's understand it. Prohibition. Statutory, I will say external auditor. external auditor should make all significant judgments of audit himself. All significant judgments of audit, like what should be the maturity level, what should be the audit risk, how much should be reliance on test of controls, how much should be reliance on the substantive procedures, what should be the quantum of evidence, and so on. All the crucial judgments, important judgments, significant judgments of the audit should be done by external audit themselves. Okay, this should not be delegated. This should not be delegated to internal auditor, or this should not be this should not be on the basis of work done by the internal auditor. It's a very sensitive thing, very important thing. It should be done by external auditor himself. This thing should not be as per the work done of internal auditor. Okay, so there's a prohibition. Okay, you do all this work, you do all this work, you do all this work, you don't give this work to anyone. Okay, fine. Then prevention. Always keep in mind prevention. Don't make undue use of the work of internal auditor. Don't do undue use. Don't do excessive use of the internal auditor. Don't have excessive use of the internal auditor. It should not happen that 80% we are relying on him and 20% we are working. This should not happen. The major portion should be always done by you only. They should not be undue used. And in that, keep in mind areas which need more judgment in planning, performing, and evaluating audit evidence. For example, for tricky areas like brand valuation, R&D expenses, lot of judgment is involved. What kind of planning should be done, how the evidence should be evaluated, what conclusion should be done. Lots and lots of judgment is involved. If lots of judgment is involved, you do it instead of simply relying on work done of internal auditor. You do it on your own. Then high risk of material misstatement. Wherever there is a high risk of material misstatement, you do it. It's very important that you do it on your own. Again, don't rely on them. So 3 points, very simple. For prohibited areas, don't use their work, do it yourself. Then prevention, no undue use. No use where more judgment is involved in planning, execution, evaluation of evidence. No use where high risk of material misstatement is involved. And finally, it depends on the two factors of step 1, competence and objectivity. If there is low competence in that particular area, don't use the work. If there are objectivity issues in particular area, don't use the work. So remember this way, there is one straightaway prohibition. All significant judgment, there is a prohibition, you do it on your own. Then for prevention, there are 3 points. Prevention, there are 3 points, and factors, there are 2 points. Okay. And in this case, it's pretty simple, guys. If the inventory is slow moving, it can be obsolete inventory. There will be big valuation issues. So basically, a lot of judgment is also involved. And there is a high risk of material misstatement also. This area should be done by external auditor themselves. It should not be. In this area, they should do a lot of work on their own. They should rely less and less or no reliance on the work done by internal auditor. Do maximum work on your own. Do maximum work on your own, guys. Do maximum work on your own. That's important. Don't just go and rely on them. Okay, that's a lovely question, guys. Again, lovely question. Very good question. So he should perform the procedure directly himself. That's the end conclusion, and not just rely on the work of internal auditor. Study material, guys. It's a study material question, so it becomes extremely important. Okay, guys, let's go next. Next is how to use rely work. How to use rely on work of the internal. How to use, that's again pretty interesting. How to use the work of internal auditor. Guys. That is step number 3. So there is a situation. The internal auditor has conducted physical verification. How to rely on his report? So they say somewhere he has done physical verification of inventory, somewhere he has done physical verification of fixed asset. How to use his specific work? I have given this here. These are the same points. See, They are the same points as we have given in the titanium also. But then, because I have done lovely markings there, I love markings. Markings are very important. Just like you love markings, I also love markings, because okay, it gives you a lot of speed. Let's see, guys. Okay, now now let's see. So there are main steps. Then these are the steps. Okay, these are the main steps. How to use the work, how to use the work, how to use the work of internal auditor. So first step is discuss and coordinate. Discuss and coordinate. Hey guys, listen, we have decided that you are a very good team, and we are planning to use your work of you are planning to use your work of physical verification of inventory, or physical verification of fixed asset which you have performed or you have attended. We plan to use their work, and this is the person who will look after this matter. Who is the person from your side? By what time your work will be over? It's our request. Can you finish up the work till 31st of May? Till 31st of May, so that our team can do their work from 1st of June. So there should be initial discussion and coordination. And on 1st of June, read the internal report. Read the report. Report will explain how, what kind of audit procedures were performed, what kind of evidence was obtained, what kind of results are there, what kind of results are there. They'll explain everything in the internal report. They will give the conclusions. They'll give the findings. Go and read them. Whether any inventory is obsolete, deteriorated, defective, someone else inventory is there, and so on. A lot of issues will be there. Okay. Then we are supposed to perform sufficient audit procedure. Sufficient should assess the adequacy. Okay, so we'll further see. Get your audit file. After reading the report, get your audit file. We want to see how planning was done, how many things were included in the planning, who did the planning, where seniors were involved, then who did the performance, who did the supervision, who did the review, who did the documentation, when was documentation complete. So you want to understand whether you have done sufficient audit procedures. So these are the main steps. These are the main steps. First discuss and coordinate. First discuss and coordinate. Then go and read the internal reports. Then go and read their body of the work. Understand from planning, performance, supervision, review, documentation. See, it's in a sequence. And then finally principles, responsiveness of audit procedure. So depending on the same factors of step number 2, which we discussed just now, uh, depending on what are the level of judgments involved in the work, the level of risk involved in the work, level of judgment, level of risk involved, objectivity and competence. Our audit process will be our audit procedures will be responsive. Will increase our audit procedures if more judgment is involved, if more risk is involved, if objectivity is less, competence is less. It should be responsive. And second principle, should regularly reassess their conclusion about internal audit function and the extent of its work used for audit. Two things, re-evaluation. Should always think that we plan to rely on the work of internal auditor, whether this decision is appropriate. Should we really rely on their work? Is it so reliable? Is it so good? Is it adequate for the area? Keep at the end, again re-evaluate it once. And re-performance, at least some work should be re-performed. If they have checked, if they themselves have checked 1,000 inventories, at least perform some audit procedures on the documents. They must have done 1,000. You check at least 5 with the help of documents. Re-perform some audit procedures. Let's freeze, guys. So it's in a sequence, guys. It's a lovely flow. That discuss and coordinate, then read the internal report, then you go for the what kind of audit procedures were there, body of the work, look at the file. And then two principles: be responsive. End of the activity, reevaluate. Should we really rely so much on the internal auditor? And re-perform at least some. Okay, again, lovely flow we have created. Come on, 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 guys, come on, come on, come on, guys, come on, guys. Okay, be always active, be active, sufficiently active. Very interesting. Internal auditor identifies deficiency in internal control system. Recently, company has revamped their internal control system for recording transactions. Okay, and very interesting. So recently company has changed their internal control system. A new internal control is installed. New internal control system is established, and in that, purchase is booked as per purchase invoice and not when actually goods are received. That's a problem. That's an error. Okay, we are supposed to book expenses, we are supposed to book purchase, we are supposed to book expense and show inventory in our books of accounts when risk and rewards are transferred. And risk and rewards are transferred on the date of delivery, on the date of delivery of the goods, and not on the date on which purchase invoice is prepared. Okay, depending on the business practices, some of them will make purchase invoice before, some of them will make purchase invoice later. That doesn't matter. What matter is when were the risk and reward transferred, when was the ownership transferred, when was the delivery done. So very important that purchase should be booked depending on date of delivery and not on the date of purchase invoice. So that's absolute blunder. That's an absolute blunder in the internal control system. Okay, how would you deal with above intermatter of the company? If you're an internal auditor, so see guys, it's a study material question. And internal auditor identifies deficiency. Internal auditor identifies, it is not the regular auditor, guys. It is not the regular auditor. If regular auditor identifies the deficiency, is supposed to communicate as per SA 265. This question is not about external auditor. This is not about external auditor, guys. This is about internal auditor. This is about internal auditor. Okay. So you'll explain SA 610. You'll explain SA 610. SA 610 explain scope of the internal auditor. That means range of activities which are generally performed by the internal auditor. What kind of work he generally performs. Okay. So he generally performs three types of work. He helps governance. He helps those charged with, he helps TCWG in governance. He evaluates the performance. There's an evaluation of performance where the performance is going good. Are they complying with the ethical requirements? Are they complying with the ethical requirements? And then very important, ethical requirement, good communication. Then he helps with risk management. He helps the entity with risk management. He will identify the risk, he will assess the risk, he will also explain how to manage those risks. And definitely the big thing is he is supposed to go and evaluate internal control systems. He is supposed to go and evaluate all the internal control systems, whether law compliance is good, safeguarding of assets is good. It's in a sequence, guys. So generally auditors focus, financial statement auditors and all auditors focus on four things. Controls related to law compliance, controls related to, most important is law, then safeguarding assets, operations efficient, effective, proper accounting, and so on. So yes, it is definitely within the scope. Evaluating internal controls is definitely within the scope, and this is within scope of internal auditor. It is his work. So what he's doing is absolutely fine. If he come across the deficiency, he is supposed to put it in his internal audit report. Okay guys, so which auditor is identifying deficiency? That changes the answer completely. If internal audit is identifying it, we have to answer it as per SA 610. We have to answer it as per 610. If statutory auditor is finding out the deficiency, we may have to answer it as per SA 265. As per 265. Okay. And we have seen a lovely thing. If they are not rectifying deficiency, it's a fraud risk factor. We have seen SA 240. Okay. So keep revising them on regular basis, guys. Keep revising them on regular basis. Hey guys, okay, great. Next. Come on. SA 620. Again, a beautiful question from Study Material 23. It is there in May 23 RTP. It is there in May 21 mock paper, and it was last asked in November 16 exams. Becomes extremely important. Becomes extremely important and very hot. It can come in exams. It can come in exams. It is written unique. That means it is not in the module. It is not in the ICI module. ICI new ICI module. It is not there. But then the question is there. Yeah, even this happens. Even this happens. There is a question in study material, but the concept is not there in the main theory. Concept is not there in the main theory. Okay. Now, so the question is pretty simple. So a very complicated work is there, fair valuation. So they are very complex derivative contracts, very complex, very complex, very complex. There are very complex derivative contracts. They're very complex, very complex derivative contracts are there, and expert, very complex derivative contract. Then and auditors expert, auditors expert, auditor expert, auditors expert. Auditors expert is appointed. Auditors expert is appointed, guys. Okay. To auditor expert is there. So if management expert is appointed, how to deal with them is covered in SF 500. How to deal with auditors expert? How to deal with auditors expert? It is covered. It is covered in one. It is covered in 620, and they are new to each other. Auditor has appointed expert that please help me in the valuation of derivatives. They are new to each other. That's a very important point. They are new to each other, and they have not entered into formal agreement with each other. They have not entered in formal agreement with each other. Okay. The next question is again whether the detailed agreement should be there between them. Okay. Listen, guys. When it comes to agreement between auditor and expert, two questions are there. Two concepts are there. Number one, what should be the content of that agreement? What should be the points in those agreement? What should be covered in those agreement? That is one concept. And the next concept which we are discussing here, when are we supposed to have a detailed agreement? When are we supposed to have detailed agreement with the auditor's expert? Okay. So many times students write wrong, they swap, and that's why they don't get marks. So please understand there are two different concepts. What should be the content of the agreement? What should be the content of the agreement is a different thing. What should be the content of the agreement? Content of the agreement is a different thing. And when to have detailed agreement is a different thing. They're two different things, guys. Okay, they're two different things. Now, let's understand this, guys. Let's understand. Okay, so here we are supposed to write about the detailed agreement, and there's a mnemonic also. Everything is arranged. I will simply go to the titanium book again. Okay, let's focus here only. Because it's unique. So they say that okay, SS 620 is applicable. Give the full name, give the reference, and then you explain sometimes a detailed agreement. A detailed agreement is required when the auditor and the auditor expert. Now, when such detailed agreement is required, so in nuclear deal, detailed agreement will be required. So N stand for not previously used the work performed by the expert. If it's the first time they're working with each other, they may have a different way of working, different thought processes, different assumption. It's very important to have detailed agreement. Both of them should explain their requirement. Auditor should explain what he expects. Expert should explain what he will be doing. Clearly, agreement should say what are the responsibilities of the auditor and what are the responsibilities of the expert. There should be clear, detailed agreement. If they have not worked previously, different. The kind of work expert is going to perform is different from generally what is being performed. These are different derivatives altogether. The governments are involved. Is a different derivative agreement altogether. These are very unique agreement. There's a unique way of valuing it and unique way of doing things. So this is different from normally what is performed. So detailed agreement should be there for these different things. It should be clearly explained how this assignment is different, what are the different requirements, different expectations. A detailed agreement should be there. extent of the auditor's expert's work, how much dependent auditor is on the expert's work. If the major portion of the financial statement, most critical, complex, risky portion of the financial statement is dependent on his work, a detailed agreement should be there, how it should be done, what should be done, so that no stone is kept unturned. No stone is kept unturned in this particular area. Then nuclear deal. A is for access. Whether expert will be having access of the confidential information. If yes, detailed agreement should be there to explain how the confidentiality should be protected, how it should be protected, and what will be consequences if there is a breach in confidentiality. Then whether multi-jurisdiction legal requirement. If multi-jurisdiction, if the lot of countries are involved, different laws are involved, then there should be complete guidance that different laws are involved and what are the responsibility with different laws with both of them. What are responsibilities of the auditor and what are the responsibility of expert with different laws. Then C stand for complexity. If there is a very complex work, a detailed agreement should be there. So if they have not worked previously, if it's a different type of work altogether, if the extent of dependence is very high, if there's access to sensitive information, if there's a multi-jurisdiction legal requirement, if there's a complexity, a detailed agreement is required, guys. Okay. Now below that there is a different question, and 105.100. Why this question is not covered? Maybe it was targeted in the exams. So this is a different question, guys. It is not in the IMP list. Just a minute, guys. Just a minute. Oh, it is in the list. It is in the list, guys. No. No, it is not in the list. No, it is not. Okay, it is not in the list, guys. Maybe it was asked in the some of the exams, so it is not there. Okay. Come on. Next. Evaluating the work of expert. Oh my God, immensely important. May 23 mock. Evaluating the work of expert, guys. Evaluating the work of expert. Very, very important. Evaluating the work of expert. So, what is the case? What the case is evaluating the work of expert. So, how will you evaluate the work of expert? Sandeep, even you discuss this. They are joint auditors. There's a joint auditor, and they have their own actuaries, own experts, and own experts are there. And the issue is there's a difference of opinion about the expert. As an auditor, we are supposed to decide which expert should be relied upon. We have to evaluate the work of expert. How to evaluate the work of expert? How to ensure the work is proper? It's a beautiful question, guys. Beautiful answer, actually. Beautiful answer. And Institute has gone in great detail with respect to this concept in the new course. In new course, they have gone in great detail, but then it is a very crisp, good answer. Okay, so first we'll explain that if you want to evaluate the work of expert, SS 620 is applicable. SS 620 is applicable. First, you will explain SS 620 is applicable. That's pretty simple. Then you will go for specific audit procedures. And these are similar to methods of collecting audit evidence. So if you remember SA 500, you go and see how, suppose you go and see how people are working. That's observation. You go in the factory and take the file, inspection. You take the calculator, recalculation. You ask things, inquiry. You sit on the computer, you reperform. Then you graph analytical procedures. You ask third party to respond, external confirmation. So we know the methods of collecting audit evidence. Methods, then the trick is simply recollect that. Suppose first is observation here. If auditor wants to evaluate the work of expert, he should observe how auditor's expert is working, observation. Inspection. He should inspect, inspection. inspection. He should inspect the report and the working papers and the audit file of the expert and the file of the expert. Inspection. Then he is supposed to do inquiries of the work of expert. Inquiries. Then he is supposed to reperform calculation, recomputing things, reperforming some activities. Okay, some activity should be there. Then uh, he is supposed to perform analytical procedures. He is supposed to perform analytical procedures whether anything unusual. He's supposed to use industry data, published data, competitors data, and whether everything is normal. Do graphical analysis, ratio analysis, everything is normal. He's supposed to take external confirmation wherever it is possible from third parties. See, this is what we say, methods of collecting audit evidence. Exact, just think about it and it is all covered. This is how we evaluate the work of expert. This is how we apply all the methods of collecting audit evidence. Okay. Then discussion with another expert. So when we see that something is wrong, things are not consistent, what experts documents are saying, when other audit evidence, expert is saying that valuation of the provision for gratuity should be 5 crores, but we are using some software also, it is saying it should be 8 crores. There's a difference of 3 crores. There's an inconsistency. Increase audit procedure. If there's an increase audit procedure, go and talk to another expert of the same field. Okay. Go and discuss with the management what the management views with respect to the expert, what management thinks. What do you think about this report? Do you think this report is appropriate logics, everything is fine? So guys, if these are the basic methods, if there is a inconsistency, there is the issue, discuss with another expert, discuss with management. Now, what things to focus on? This was how to check. Now, next is what to check. In new course study material, they have gone in detail on each point. Okay. First thing is to check source data. Every expert is going to use source data. Whether source data, suppose employer data, whether source data is complete, whether it is accurate, whether it is valid, it is approved, whether it is actual, whether the source data is complete, accurate, reliable, relevant. Go and check that. Then next you are supposed to check assumptions and methods. Whether these assumptions and methods are relevant. Are they relevant for this industry? Are they relevant for this particular situation? Are they suitable for it? And are they reasonable? Are they matching with the other companies? Are they matching with the industry data? Are they matching with the overall approach taken? Are they matching with what management does? Whether assumptions and methods are similar to what happens in industry, what generally is done by management. Okay. What is generally written by FRF, Financial Reporting Framework. Then findings and conclusions. Are they consistent? Whether the findings and conclusions are consistent with other audit procedures, other audit evidences. So focus on that. And the conclusion are reasonable. Plus minus 5% is absolutely fine. What if the work is not adequate? Oh, we didn't like the work done. So we'll again sit with the expert and agree. These are the additional things you should do. These are the additional things you are supposed to perform. Please do it. Okay. Or if you are not able to do it, we will do something. We perform further audit procedure. See, your work is divided. Your answer is divided into 3 things. And that is how you are supposed to see this. So first you explain how to check the work of expert. Then you are supposed to explain what to check in the work of expert. And then you are supposed to explain what if it is inadequate. Guys. Okay. I hope it is clear in your mind. Then a very time pass question, a very simple question. But the way they asked, it is in the study material. I cannot imagine they have asked this in study material. It is in the study material, guys. It is in the study material. Areas where expert report can be used, evaluation of work. The way they ask is not proper. While doing audit, RAM, the auditor requires report from expert for the purpose of evidence. What types of reports? They have asked, no, they have asked types of reports and types of opinions. To be very honest, uh, there is no types of report when it comes to experts report. The question should have been, in which areas we can use the experts report, in which areas we can take help of the expert. Give some examples. So we have made a beautiful shortcut. Let's go to that. 620.140, 620.140. Okay, now 620.040. They are focusing on two things. They're okay, they're explaining these are the areas, where we can take help of the expert, and these are the areas we can. And then what we check, we have just discussed. What we check is, in short, what we check, or you can explain the above things in short again. 620.040 is the concept number. Okay, so come here, guys. It's very simple. Auditor responsibility, objective, they're talking about. Okay, areas of expertise. In which areas we can take help of the expert, and the shortcut we have used is travel. So we can take help of expert. If the tax compliance, there can be very complicated tax compliance issues. In that, we can take help of the expert. Then reserve estimation, R for travel. So we can take help of the expert in travel planning. R stand for reserves estimations, estimation of oil and gas reserves. So estimation of oil and gas reserves. So what is the oil and gas reserves? We can take help in that. Actuarial calculation. We can take help in actuarial calculation also. Actuarial calculation of liabilities. What actuarial calculation of the liability? We can take help in that also. Actuarial calculation, provision for gratuity, provision for pension, provision for insurance, and so on. Valuation of complex financial instrument, land, building, plant and machinery. So just recall the asset side, land and building, investments, financial instruments. We can take help in that also. Plant and machinery. Then legal interpretation. If they are very complicated law, rules, regulation, contract, we can take help in the legal interpretation. So we can take help in the travel. That is tax compliances. We can take help in tax compliances, reserves estimations, actuarial calculations, valuation, legal interpretations. We can take help in these things. Okay. And what to evaluate? We already discussed. We have to check source data. If we rely on the reports, check source data, whether the assumptions and methods. All the experts are going to use source data. All the experts are going to use assumptions and methods, and then they're going to get results. You focus on these three things, you are automatically evaluating the work of expert. So guys, there were a lot of these things. We are through with it. Come on. Okay. Still not through with it. See, all these standards are pretty unique, guys. All these standards are pretty unique. Pretty important. Okay. So if you take some time, it is absolutely fine. Come on. So SF 540, we are focusing on the important question list which we have seen. Oh, super. May 23 mock. So this question was first asked in November 20 exams. It went to May 23 mock, May 22 mock, May 23 mock. Is dying to come in exams. Okay. So the situation is. So they have made some background, some industry, telecom industry, some background is there. Okay. And the issue and the challenge is that so estimation. estimation is involved, and there is a significant risk. So we are on an audit of a telecom company, and there's some major estimation is required, and there's a significant risk. There's a significant risk. We all know that audit procedures increase if there's a significant risk. Audit procedures increase if there's a significant risk. So if there's significant risk, what are we supposed to perform? If there's significant risk, what are we supposed to perform? So concept 540.120, 540.120, 540.120. Okay. You all, as if you're having titanium book, it's fine. If you're not having, use your concept book. Use your concept book, or simply use that only, and these points should be there. Okay. So here, accounting estimate gap gives rise to significant risk. There's a shortcut also, mard. So in Hindi, mard means man. So mard. So there's a dialogue, mard ko dard nahi hota. Mard ko dard nahi hota. There is a dialogue. So inspired from that. If we feel there's a significant risk means there's a high probability of misstatement, very high probability, likelihood of misstatement, and a very high magnitude will be involved. Okay. So very high probability and high magnitude is involved. So if there is a significant risk, what we are going to do as an auditor, we are going to perform some additional audit procedures. We are going to focus on some key things, 4 things. Management intents and ability. What is that? So in these estimates, management, we are going to see what is the management's. It's very important that we go and understand what is management's intention. Like they want to sell investment in short time or long time. What is their intention? They want to close this branch or not? They want to close this business or not? So we should, if there's significant risk, what is the real intention of the management with respect to that particular item? What is the intention? How they want to use it? What they want to do it over a period of time? And with their ability. So it's very important. The first thing we focus on, what is the management's real intention with respect to this item, and whatever is their intention, okay, the intention, will they be able to do it? Will they be able to do it? That's very important. Whether what is their intention? Is there their genuine intention with respect to selling of the asset, closing of the business, how to settle a case, anything it can. What is their intention? Are their ability? Whether as per the present financial position, business position, they will be able to do it. They will be able to do it. Okay. So first see management intention, ability with respect to the significant risk area, what they want to do. And so that focus on the management intent and ability. Then A stand for whether there is an alternative set of assumptions. Management has already taken certain set of assumptions and methods, whether there are alternative set of assumptions which can be used for the same calculation. They have used one set of assumptions. What will be the inflation? What will be the interest rate? What will be the salary growth rate? What will be the attrition rate, and so on? Are we having alternative set of assumptions? Always, if there is significant risk, we always ask whether there is an alternative set of assumptions. Can we use different assumptions also? Then focus more on reasonableness of assumptions. Whether these assumptions are looking reasonable, are they acceptable, are they realistic as per past data, as per industry data, as per management, whether these assumptions of management with respect to estimates are reasonable, are acceptable, realistic. And D stand for develop range estimates. So what is that? If you compute estimates can be one single amount, say 50 lakhs provision for doubtful debt, or it can be in a range. Say 40 lakhs to 60 lakhs. There's a range. So if auditor believes management has not adequately addressed the estimation uncertainty, if they feel that okay, management has calculated estimates, but then a lot of uncertainty is involved, okay, things can go on the lower side also and higher side also. So let me take all the scenarios. What if it goes on lower side, negative side? What if it goes on better side, higher side? Let me imagine that. Let me take alternative set of assumption, alternative set of data. and I will compute myself a range of estimate. What should be, as per me, what should be the range of estimate? Okay. So if it is a significant risk, you develop your range of estimate. So focus on mirth point. M stand for what is the management's real intention and ability. Then A stand for whether there are alternative assumptions available, reasonableness of the assumptions, and developing your own range estimates. This will be a drastic increase in the audit procedure as compared to the regular audit procedures. As compared to regular audit procedure, guys, is extremely important. Very, very important thing. Okay. From the exam point of view. Now, guys, come on, come on. Okay, that was the only question from their side. See, guys, 350 question is huge. We are focusing on 350 questions first. So we are through with, see, initial chapters are little tricky. Initial chapters are little tricky and little demanding. So they obviously they take a lot of time. Obviously they take a lot of time, and it's absolutely fine. We give that much time to them. Quickly, guys, quickly. Let's do few more questions. Come on, guys. Let's do few more questions. Come on. So chapter number 4. So chapter number 4, MRI. Okay, that is M for materiality, R for risk assessment, I for internal control system. We have covered in this part 1. We have covered concepts of SA31. We have covered concepts of SA315. We have covered concepts of SA315 also, some concepts of SA320 also, guys. Okay, and if there's some extra, so what institute has done, it has clubbed the concepts together. So we have kept like that only. So this covers a lot of concepts of 315. This covers a lot of concepts of 320. Okay, a lot of concepts of 320. It covers a lot of concepts. If institute has missed any important concept, we have covered it separately. We have covered separately in SA315 extra concepts, SA320 extra concepts. Okay, we'll see. We'll look at it. Don't worry about it. But I just wanted to say this covers major portion of 315. Okay, now, so 315 also, and whatever there. So first question is lovely from study material. First question is lovely from study material, guys. Lovely from study material. What it says, it gives a situation. And it says, ask what factors you may consider for assessing audit risk. This is the way they ask. What factors you may consider for assessing the audit risk. Honestly speaking, by reading what they're asking, it is difficult to understand what they're asking. But then once you do this question, you'll understand what they're asking. And next time you see such kind of wording, such kind of setup, so you need some kind of intuition also what they're asking. You need some kind of intuition also. You need intuition also that what they're asking. Okay. Now let's see, guys. Let's see. So basically they are asking, please identify inherent risk, control risk, and detection risk. Identifying the factors which contribute to inherent risk, identify the factors which contribute to control risk, identify the factors which contribute to detection risk. Quickly, at the initial stage of the audit, we assume that there are no internal control system. And now looking at the nature of the industry, nature of the entity, nature of the management, nature of their operations, and nature of the items involved, the basic nature of the things involved, where material misstatement can happen. We think about it, and those areas are marked inherent risk. So this risk is coming because of basic nature of the industry, business, promoters, owners, location, employees, everything. So that's called inherent risk. That is because of basic nature of the things. Okay. Then risk which is arising because of poor, ill-planned internal control systems. Chances that there will be material mistake, the controls will not work properly. they will fail. That's control risk. So what are the factors which are contributing to control risk? What is detection risk? Auditors' audit procedures may not be able to identify material misstatements. That is, so factors which contribute to detection risk. Let's understand this. It's very simple. I've done all the marking also. So it's an NGO. So it's an NGO, guys. It's an NGO. It's an NGO and which is working in the area of democracy, upholding the democracy. It's a very controversial area. It's a very controversial area. It's a very it is a political area. There acquisition, counter acquisition, accusations, complaints, allegations on each other's. So ruling party will always say we are upholding the democracy. We are running the country we are running the country. We are running the country with full democracy. And opposition will say no. So there will be always attacks, counterattacks, and so on. So you are into very, very sensitive area, very, very sensitive area. So because of the area in which you work, it gives to inherent risk. It gives rise to inherent risk. Okay. Then the first time audit. The person is doing the auditor is doing audit first time. Because the auditor is doing audit first time, okay. Not first time, because of that, he may miss few things. So the first time contributes to detection risk. He may miss some material misstatements, he may miss few areas that contributes to detection risk. Last year things are unaudited. Last year things are unaudited, okay. Unaudited, and because of that, opening balances may go wrong. The basic nature, the situation is such that it may go wrong. Again, that leads to inherent risk. Activities were small scale, the activities were at small scale. However, in current year, substantial donation. Earlier, it was very small. Suddenly, donations have increased drastically. Suddenly, foreign funds have come in. There may not be adequate internal control systems, adequate internal control systems to handle so much of donations, to handle foreign funds, and they have gone for crowdfunding. There may not be proper internal control system. It contributes to control risk. They have gone to they have gone for foreign funds. In foreign funds, foreign currency rate may go wrong, and there may be non-compliance of FEMA Act. There's an inherent risk. Crowdfunding, who knows whether black money is coming. Inherent risk. Okay. Acquisition, counter acquisition, we already discussed. So guys, so this is a situation. Audit of NGO is going on. Guys. And because of that, some of the points, when you feel the nature of the industry, nature of the business, nature of the promoters, nature of the employees, nature of the situation, because of that, there's a risk, there's an inherent risk. If you feel controls will be inadequate, controls will fail, they are not designed properly, that's a control risk. If there's something from auditor side, okay, he's doing audit first time, he's doing audit first time, he's having less time, less resources, and there's issues and challenges from the auditor side, it may lead to detection risk. Beautiful question, guys. First time such question has been asked about the inherent risk and so on. Okay, audit risk calculation. This is a very, very old question. We all know. Audit risk, chances that our final opinion goes wrong is audit risk. That depends on what we are checking, how bad, how dirty, how bad is the thing which we are checking. So how bad are the financial statement? What are the chances that material misstatements are present in the financial statement? Material misstatement reached financial statement. They are present in the financial statement, which are given to auditor for audit. So that is RMM, risk of material misstatement. What is the level of risk in financial statement? That is RMM, risk of material misstatement. And how much efforts we are putting, that is detection risk. Now RMM is inherent risk into control risk into detection risk. What are the chances that financial statements are missed? That depends. What is the level of inherent risk and how good are the controls? What is the control risk? The very famous equation, AR is equal to IR into CR into DR. They explain one by one. Chances that 40% of the bills would be defalcated. 40% chance that bills will be 40% chance that bills will be defalcated, bills will not be paid properly, there will be issue. This is inherent risk. So 40% is inherent risk. 40% is inherent risk. My assured the internal control can prevent 75% defalcations. 40% internal controls will be able to prevent 75%. So success rate is 75%. That's very interesting. Success rate control will be successful in 75% cases. That means control risk is 25%. Control risk is 25%. Then the level of detection of fraud and error to the extent of 60%. Auditor can detect 60% things. That means he will be missing 40% things. Auditor's audit procedure will not be able to identify and detect 40% things. See, the main thing is you should know this formula. The other thing is where they are presented. Sometimes they will directly give the risk, or they will say they will give the success rate. If they give the success rate, that means the other is the failure rate, that is the risk. So we will get audit risk here, 40% into 25%, okay, 10%, so 4%. In this scenario, it will be 4%. It will be 4%. First give reference of SA 315. You explain what is the inherent risk, you explain then what is control risk, you explain detection risk, you explain audit risk, then you give the formula, then you explain each risk, that this is inherent, this is control, this is detection risk, figures, then you multiply and you get the final figure. Audit risk is 4%. Come on guys, one more question. Come on. One more question, two more question maybe. Come on. Components of internal control system. I think, see, we do a lot of hard work, our team, but sometimes references, there are 5% chance references. This question must have been asked in the new study material also. What are the components of internal control framework? So SA 315 explain there are 5 very important components of internal control framework. So if you want to study, analyze internal control of any company, you should focus on those 5 components. If these components are good, internal controls are good. First is control environment. What is attitude of management and TCWG? What is attitude of management and TCWG towards internal control system? Are they giving it a lot of importance, lot of value, lot of resources, infrastructure? They're taking proper action for internal controls. They are very serious about internal controls. That's called good control environment. Control environment is extremely important. If there's a good control environment, every small thing in the internal control is followed. Then, how good is company's internal risk assessment process? Are they able to identify and assess risk in different departments of the company? Only when they identify the risk, assess the risk as low, medium or high, they can do the next step. So when for the big risk, they have to develop control activities. Are they putting segregation of duty? Are they putting authorization? Are they putting record keeping? Are they putting regular reconciliations? Those are control activities, activities which compensate the risk. They are control activities. So you need to first know the risk, then only you can have control activities. We live in a dynamic world. Everything keeps on changing. So next is monitoring controls. They should on regular basis, quarterly basis, 6 monthly basis, annual basis, monitoring control. Monitoring control can be done by in-house staff. There can be internal monitor. There can be expert for monitoring the internal controls, whether they need to be changed. And to support all these things, you need very, very good information system, information technology. You should very good system. It captures all the financial and operational information accurately, completely, processes it and make beautiful reports. That is information system and information technology. So these are the 5 components of internal control system. The most important, what is the attitude towards internal control environment, internal risk assessment process, are we able to identify and assess proper risk, then control activities for those risks, then monitoring of controls, and lastly information system, information technology. Last question guys, let's go for last question. Last question. This has been there. Okay. The effectiveness of controls cannot rise above the integrity and ethical values of the people who create, administer, and monitor them. So what they're saying that, so control environment is how serious and how much importance you're giving to internal control system. What they're saying, it's very important to see what are the, it's very important to see what are integrity and ethical values who are creating the system, implementing the system, monitoring the system. If they are very ethical and honest, automatically it will percolate. People working under them, people working for them, automatically will be having integrity and ethical values. So it says that it's very important that people sitting at the top, management and TCWG, they should have very high level of integrity and ethics, high level of integrity and ethics. Then only they will be able to preach, they will be able to explain others to follow integrity and ethics. They will be able to tell others, they will be able to set examples, they will be able to reinforce these principles in the company. And if this happens, it will mitigate a lot of risk for the fraudulent activities, dishonest activities, illegal activities. So the policies, code of conduct should reflect the integrity and ethical values of people sitting at the top. So you simply explain that yes, it is true. Okay, you should explain yes, it is true. Top management ethics, integrity is extremely important. Extremely important for setting example and inspiring staff, inspiring employees. It's very important. It should reflect in policy and code of conduct. I've explained the meaning in short also there. Explain the meaning also. So in November 18 RTP, study material 21, and I think it's in study material 23 also. Study material 23 also. So guys, we have done a lot of questions today. Let's stop here. Revise this much, guys. Revise this much. We'll meet tomorrow. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye. Guys, do put your lovely comments. Do share it with everyone. Do put your comments. Those comments matter a lot for us, for our energy, for our efforts. We thoroughly like it. So do like it. Do put your comments. Do spread it to everyone.